Hi. This past semester in our Canadian Development class, we learned about the man credited with the founding of Halifax, Edward Cornwallis. Myself, along with classmate Morgan Payne, would like to share some of the history we learned with you.
If you're from Nova Scotia, you've probably already heard of Edward Cornwallis. We're here in the south end of Halifax, where a statue was erected in his name. Edward Cornwallis was in the British military before being tasked with settling Nova Scotia. What failed to be taken into account was that the land here was already settled by the indigenous peoples of Nova Scotia.
One of the primary goals of this military task was to build and maintain a relationship with the indigenous people. However, shortly after arriving, this relationship was filled with conflict.
In an attempt to consolidate power in Nova Scotia, Cornwallis issued a genocide against the indigenous peoples called the Scalping Proclamation, where his settlers were promised a reward for each scalp brought to him.
As mentioned before, Edward Cornwallis was in the British Army. As a general in a war against the French, he was obviously under a lot of stress. In fact, he participated in two of the most bloody battles with enormous losses on the British side.
These facts lead many historians to believe that he was unfit to handle such a sensitive task, as was to settle Halifax in the name of Britain among the indigenous. As demonstrated by his gruesome scalping proclamation and violence towards the indigenous population, perhaps these historians were correct.
We are here at Halifax Central Junior High School, although it was not always called that. Until recently, this school was named after Edward Cornwallis. A few years ago, there was a petition signed by enough citizens that forced the government to change the name of the school.
We're here on Cornwallis Street in downtown Halifax. While some names have been changed, the efforts to remove his name entirely from Halifax has yet to be satisfied.
Some believe that the name Cornwallis should be erased everywhere, while some believe that although he caused a lot of terror, he should still have a spot in the history books. No matter what side of the argument you're on, the discussion regarding Edward Cornwallis' fate is not over.